Welcome to another episode of Armwrestler Breakdown. Today we're going to talk about one of the greatest heavyweights ever. Unfortunately, he passed away at the end of 2018, Andrey Pushkar. So today we're going to break down his technique, his pain train.
Pain train, yeah.
So,
Andrey Pushkar.
So please, right now, like the video and let's talk about Andrey. So he started very young. I think he was 16, 15 when he...
Yeah, Andrey was born 1985 and already 2000, beginning of 2000, 2003, 2004, he competed very successfully in a top level of world arm wrestling.
First match that I could find was him versus Voyevoda in 2000.
It was 2004 in European Championships.
Yeah. And already then he gave a great match to Voyevoda. Yeah.
So he was 19 years old at that time, and it's 2004, and everyone always remember 2004 was a great Zloty where Voyevoda, Travis Bajan, John Brezenk, Ron Bass was there, and the famous win of Voyevoda when he won a Zloty tour. Yeah. He won in final. I think it was against Travis Bajan, Matt Gardner was there, and so same year in a summer, he had a long fight. Pushkar had long fight with Alexei Voyevoda in Europeans. Yeah. With a flop wrist, Alex took his wrist, and Pushkar was able to hold him and even attack for this position, and it was not far. Okay, he was not really close, but still, it was even fight.
Yeah. He was of course, he was struggling, and he wasn't giving up. And that's where I think his style it has changed, or it has changed for the better throughout his career. But it stayed the same. He was just going for the pin as fast as he could, and after that we see how it evolved, how it got better and better and better. But the main part was his back pressure was really good and side pressure was really good, and he didn't really care about his hand at the start of his career. He was already too much stronger than anyone else, and there were few guys that could stop him.
He did care about hand, but if your opponents are better in hand, you lose your hand.
Yeah.
But about Andrey in his early career, in like beginning of 2000, I remember him as a junior as well, and also 2004, 2006 when he faced Denis Tsiplenkov in a super match first time. What he was doing basically for beginning was just a crazy side pressure. Yeah. He was trying always to go with the hand, to go together.
But it was much stronger, the side pressure much stronger.
Yeah, and he was trying to get an opponent's rotator, and just shortest way from center to pin pad
is the straight line.
And he was mostly doing just good one move side pressure. Yeah. Lately, or not so much lately, but when it was not so successful always, when he was losing sometimes, when he lose to Denis Tsiplenkov super match, 2000, already 2009, 2010, he was working much more back pressure. He was trying to rise more. He was trying to take a risk. Same against Denis. In beginning, he was going for side. In 2009, 2011, he was able to take Denis' wrist with right arm. Yeah. So he was going much more top roll as well.
He understood that he would lose all the way here, so he tried a little bit. But his top roll, it's not like classical top roll. His top roll was like he was going here and straight to the pad, and it was just this. It wasn't much movement backwards because of his stance. He doesn't stand like usual pressers when you're very close and you try. His shoulder was going a little bit more back, and then he went inside.
He was back to have a square or correct position in a start.
But I would say his angle was still bigger than usually. Like usually guys are here when you want to press it, and he was here because his back pressure was so good that he can hold through it.
If we generally talk about heavyweights, biggest part of heavyweights in arm wrestling are not best technical arm wrestlers. And it's very hard for top heavyweight, if you are the strongest one in your gym, in your club, or even in your country, to get better in technique. Yeah. You just stand here, and what's
no one
Andrey was doing, you stand here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bam. He was always standing high, and from this position, wrist or no wrist,
he was still press everyone.
If you are 10, 20, 50% stronger than anyone, how can you get a better technique?
Of course, yeah.
And there are just few arm wrestlers who are heavyweights or real heavyweights who are good at technique.
Yeah.
Or for heavyweights, if you want to get better at technical aspects, or you have to go to sparring or table practice after some weights.
Yeah.
Or you have to pull for so long
when
you're getting tired, and then you can start to find some positions. You start to work with some angles.
And yeah, for him it was every time he lost, he came back better.
Yeah.
He improved on that aspect where he lost.
Yeah.
He was very smart because at the start of his career he wasn't really like that hand was moving a lot, and if someone opened, he didn't care. At the end of his career already, like 2015, 16, 17, he was more secure here.
He was better in hand, but still mostly what he was doing was side pressure, and he was much more active with back pressure, with rising, and he was securing his hand by attacking opponent's hand. Yeah. So opponent's wrists were open, his wrists were open, but he was still working here. This wrist position was, of course, very solid. It's one of the best, but if we compare with other top heavyweights,
I think the biggest lesson he got, Devon Larratt gave him the biggest lesson, in my opinion. Like
that's a second story about Andrey Pushkar. He has never been known as a best endurance athlete. Yeah. He was very fast in the start. He was very explosive.
Good tournament winner, good tournament puller.
Very explosive, for a heavyweight, and he was, I believe, much more successful in the tournaments than in the super fights. Yeah. He has lost super even there, I think there are just a few super match he has won against Tim Bresnan, and second fight against Michael Todd. Yeah. He lost against Devon Ciplenko 2006 in a super match, Dennis, against Devon Larratt, against Michael Todd. He in a super match format.
Yeah, he wasn't that successful.
And usually even in a super match, if he was better or even in the first rounds, then in the late rounds he was
dropping,
but never getting better.
The style is offensive style. It's not defensive. Yeah, and it everything falls in together. He's good at tournaments because he finishes matches quickly. He doesn't get tired.
But in double elimination, like in a WAF World Championship, it was working great. He was
Zloty tour
as well in the tournament, in his Zloty tour. In double elimination,
many tournaments when they had like Dennis would sit in a longer match with Dave or something, he would just go through everyone like butter.
Yeah, but very often he and Dennis killed each other. And then John won, John Brezeng in a final in Zloty Tour 2008, I think it was. When they kill each other in a category, and similarly has happened also with
many times
with Trubin in Moldova.
And then when I remember 2017, 16 Zloty tours. Whenever it happened, everyone's like, and they go out and they don't fight because they know they will leave it for the final, and they will leave it on table. Like Trubin gave him a great match when he came back 2017 or 17 or 16
probably. It was before. It was 2008 they learned the lesson. If you kill each other in a pre-elimination rounds, in the final you are done, and especially after that, if it's overload class, you are done.
They're
and
so
usually
strong.
After that, in 2010, 2011, and all others, they usually just didn't fight in elimination. Maybe even in a heavyweight final, they didn't fight. Just in open class, they started. So just one fight. All others, like one is giving up, or other is giving up.
Many times we saw that many times in many tournaments. It is a good strategy for heavyweight because a lot of times the heavyweights don't even win the overall because they kill each other. So, and again, his style was super offensive attack, no defense there, and he was very successful at that. I don't know, he won so many Zloty tours, so many world titles in WAF, and
one more thing about technique. Of course, he was every year. I think even almost every year he was still very young for heavyweight, but almost every year he was getting stronger. But one more thing, how he was growing in his technique was his super match against Michael Todd. First time he lost against Michael Todd. Michael Todd stopped him.
Yeah.
Pushkar, as always, he was not caring too much about finding some positions. He was going for pin, and he was pulling.
And when you meet that King's
start to lose his wrist, and still pressing, pushing, pulling, not thinking too much. And in a second super match,
that was a great one.
where I think Andrey won
4-2.
4-2. And he did the same mistakes in beginnings, in the first round, second rounds. And I was watching. We were both there. I think I was watching. I think like, stop for a moment, stand up,
think,
grip, get higher, go for triceps. And Reptsev, I think from Ukraine, was in Andrey's corner, and he was telling him the same thing. And that was moment when I saw that Andrey, for first few times, are starting to use not only his brutal power but starting to analyze.
You're going to get stopped. Everyone's going to get stopped by Michael Todd. You just need to think how to get through it.
And he started to analyze. He started to think, and he did that in a fight, already in a match.
In a match,
Regrips and change and get in a different position.
With tricep press, you can press through, you can win.
Yeah.
But you need a higher position still, and that was a problem in the first match.
So Andrey was growing as a technical arm wrestler, but for me, those who want to learn technique, those who want to get
they need
better
opponents.
Of course, but for me, I don't think that Andrey is best example for them to learn from. He was very successful arm wrestler, but mostly because of his brutal strength. He was one of strongest arm wrestler from shore.
Yeah, of course.
Out there, but not the best technical arm wrestler.
Yeah.
So
he was just strong. He was good arm wrestler, and he kind of built upon that. He didn't start from nothing, and then he had amazing strength base, one of the strongest strength bases. And we have heard this many times from many arm wrestlers. They know he's one of the strongest ever. And but his style super successful for tournaments, not so on super matches, but still great improvement. And it's a terrible thing that happened that he's not here anymore. But
2018 he was going for his super match against Denis Tsiplenkov.
And they haven't met since 2014, 15, something like that even. I guess something like that, because Denis was
not too active in arm wrestling that time, and
he had a match. He just coming back for that, and we were hoping to have, and of course I think Andrey was preparing like crazy to finally beat Denis, but it is what it is.
And Andrey, he started in his career when he was very young, and for almost 20 years, 15 years, he was in a top heavyweight, highest level, and he could win, and he has won almost, I think, against anyone in a world of arm wrestling. He has won against, like, if we name greatest heavyweights, Farid Usmanov, Devon Larratt, first super match, but still he won the first round. Michael Todd, Tim Bresnan, Denis Tsiplenkov, Travis Bagent, Dave Chaffee. Not sure about
Dave.
John Brzezinski as well. Of course, maybe John was not in the best shape that period, but still
2014 A1
in A1, and so it has happened. So we can name almost Richard Lupkas was also. We can name all greatest or best that period heavyweights, and I can't remember. Maybe you can. Who like. Which one has run away of defeat against Andrey? So basically, he has win, he has lose, and it's happened. It's normal in a sport. You win, you lose. But he
was still all the time the highest level. all the time. Every year, who's the top 3 best arm wrestler?
Yeah, so he has beaten all best he has find.
And he has been there, and of course, basically when he started, together with him started Denis Tseplenko. And it's if there wouldn't been any Denis Tseplenko, who would be the best heavyweight? We would say Andrey, because he was so dominant.
It's again question greatest or best.
Of course. For a period.
Andrey was competing very successfully and great in WAF events, which is doping tested events.
Yeah.
So he was able to compete for more than 10 years in doping tested events.
In both.
And he competed that time with also Denis Tseplenko. And Denis has never competed in doping tested events. That's a big difference.
Yeah.
And only in the last 2 or 3 years, Andrey was not going to WAF, to European Championships, where you have doping tests.
Yeah.
And he was competing just in so-called professional tournaments.
Yeah.
And every year he was getting better, stronger, smarter. He was learning, and 2018, when he passed away, he was just 33 years old.
Yeah.
For heavyweight, it's nothing. It's nothing.
For arm wrestling, it's
for arm wrestling,
for
it's
arm
nothing.
It's nothing. Yeah. So. Yeah.
So that's our story about one of greatest super heavyweights, Andrey Pushkar.
Yeah. So please like the video, and we're gonna bring you more breakdown episodes. Stay strong, stay healthy, stay at home, and love arm wrestling.